Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. On the undercard of the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul farce is a bona fide, terrific, potentially terrific fight and a much-needed rematch, and that is between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, a proper fight, okay? The first one was an outstanding contest, took place in April of 2022. It was for the undisputed lightweight titles. Taylor won a split decision. She was all but knocked out in the fifth round. I mean, had these been 3-minute rounds, it's certainly over. Certainly, if it was 12 threes rather than 10 twos, I think you can make a much stronger case for Serrano winning by stoppage. She almost had Katie out of there in the fifth. Katie was badly hurt, by far the worst she's been hurt in her professional career. She was battered, bleeding, but she came back to use her boxing skills to outbox Serrano. A lot of people think Serrano won that fight, but I thought Katie edged it, but I don't know. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. A rematch was necessary, and it's been a long time in the making because along it comes 2.5 years later. We have Katie, who is 23 wins with 6 stoppages or knockouts, 1 defeat, which was to Chantel Cameron. We'll go into that in a moment. She is 38 years old now. And Amanda Serrano, her opponent, is 36. Again, neither of these is a spring chicken. Amanda, a southpaw from Puerto Rico. Katie's orthodox. Amanda's 47 wins with 31 KOs or stoppages. Very high ratio for a female fighter. 2 defeats and 1 draw. And, two of the best women to ever do it. I mean, you have to say, now, I would say that, well, first of all, let's have a look at what's happened since that first fight, because Amanda's been the busier. She fought Sarah Mahfoud in September of the same year, 2022, that she lost. That was a unanimous 10-round decision, 10-2s. Mahfoud was previously undefeated. And Mahfoud has recently lost to Chantel Cameron, by the way. She beat Erica Cruz Hernandez, 10-round decision. That was for all the belts at featherweight. I should point out, by the way, that both these ladies are undisputed or have been undisputed. I mean, Amanda's won belts, I think it's about 8 different divisions. In 2023, the Hernandez fight was in 2023, and she also beat Heather Hardy. It was past her best and kind of battered. Lots of miles on the clock there. She beat her over 10 rounds. And then she beat Danila Ramos over 12 threes. And Amanda was saying, from now on, I'm coming to the end of my career. I want to fight 12 threes. But her next fight against Stevie Morgan was over 10-2. She scored a 2-round knockout. Morgan was 14-1 going in. And now she's facing Katie again over 10-2s. Someone who's not happy about this is Sky Nicholson, the Australian, because she holds the WBC featherweight belt. And she says, well, why won't Amanda Serrano fight me, over 10-2s? She's saying she wants to do 12 threes. That was her excuse for giving up the belt. Come on now, you're fighting these other girls at 10-2s. Why not me? It's an argument that can be made. So Amanda, fantastic fighter. Like I say, has won belts in all sorts of weight divisions. Just a fantastic fighter, really. I mean, what do you say? Whereas Katie, of course, whereas Amanda turned pro 15 years ago, Katie's career, she's Olympic gold medalist. She hasn't had as long a professional career. She turned pro in 2016, so that's 7 years after Amanda. She hasn't put her foot wrong, really, other than the defeat to Chantel Cameron, which was up at 140. Now that was Katie's homecoming in Ireland, and Chantel completely ruined the script. She won a majority decision over 10-2s. Should have been unanimous, I think. and that was for Chantel's super lightweight belt. She was undisputed. In the rematch, the role was reversed, with Katie winning the majority decision over Chantel, and that was the same venue, wasn't it? The Point in Dublin. But she has had one other fight since the first Serrano fight, and that was against Karen Carbajal, and she won a unanimous 10-round decision. Again, we're talking 10-2s. But at 140, is that Katie's home now? I suppose at 38, you could argue, yeah, she's put on the weight because of age. She's put it on naturally. But there's no doubt that in the first Cameron fight, she wasn't herself. Now, is this down to a bad day at the office, not having fought at 140 before? Again, and fighting a very, very good opponent, because Chantel Cameron is an extremely good opponent. Or was it a case of age catching up with her? Or is it a bit of both, maybe? Well, certainly in the rematch, she did fight an inspired fight. And Cameron was cut on the forehead and nose. Taylor was cut over the eye. But I think she deserved that win, And really, those two women should be having a rubber match too, a trilogy. It's one each. Chantel probably left Matchroom and went to Queensbury because she was so irate at Matchroom steering Katie towards the Serrano rematch rather than the trilogy fight with Cameron. But that fight can still happen. I mean, if Katie beats Serrano, I think that's something that can be made, especially as Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are now, bosom buddies. It's very difficult to talk about the age factor because even though Katie at 38 is 2 years older, she has less miles as a professional on the clock. And having said that, she has been involved in some tough fights. The 2 versus Delphine Persoon. I mean, I thought Persoon clearly beat her first time round. Clearly beat Katie. That should have been a win for Persoon. The rematch, Katie really beat. I mean, Delphine Persoon is freakish. The amount of punishment she can actually take is shocking. It really is. And there have been, Jessica McCaskill gave Katie a decent enough fight, and she's beaten other people like Jessica Hahn. I mentioned Carbajal, didn't I? Linodatu, Christina Linodatu, she's beaten her. So she has beaten good women throughout her career, Katie. But when you consider the battering even though she won it in the first Serrano fight, and then the 2 gruelers with Chantel, you do have to wonder. Those were her last 2 fights as well, the 2 Cameron fights. Is she there for the taking? Is she there for the taking at 38? Sometimes it's the amount of miles that get put on the clock during fights rather than the amount of fights that can really suddenly unhinge someone when they hit a certain chronological ceiling, a certain age. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think Katie is the bigger woman. Most of Amanda's fights have been at featherweight or below. I mean, she even, back in 2019, she even boiled herself down to, was it super flyweight, I think, and scored a 1-round knockout to pick up some belt or other. WBO super, was one of them, Superfly, was it WBO Superfly, something like that. But so she can actually make weight far less than certainly far less than 140. I mean, 140 is really it's a new challenge for her. But if she wanted the rematch against Katie, and that's where the money is, and she obviously wants to reverse that defeat, then yeah, she had to go there, and unsurprisingly, she has gone there because she's a hell of a warrior. Katie has talked prior to this fight, well, I'm just getting started, I'll fight for many years to come. I feel fine, I feel good. Okay, we'll see. So how do I think this fight will go? Well, I think the 10-2s favours Katie Taylor, because even if age is catching up with her, creeping up on her, I mean, 10-2s, 20 minutes of fighting. I say this all the time, but it's only, 2 minutes more than a man's 6-rounders and 6-3s. It's a sprint, not a marathon. Some styles are perfectly better suited to it. I don't think Katie would be a bad fighter over 3 minutes, but I think probably she's going to be a little bit wise that Serrano can hurt her. She knows she can be hurt. She's also coming off the 2 Cameron fights, which may think, I don't really want another tear up, so I'm going to box. She boxed. She sort of did that box fighting thing, varying balancing the skills with the aggression perfectly in the Cameron rematch. It was really fantastic performance. But Amanda's more of a killer. She's more of I'm going after you, which is probably why she's got 31 KOs or stoppages in 47 wins. She's probably a bit fresher. She's been more active, certainly. She's had that one fight against Stevie Morgan this year, which was only a 2-rounder. But Katie, when she gets in the ring, will have been out of the ring for over 11 months, not quite a year. So inactivity, is that going to come into it? I think that the distance will be a major factor. I think Katie will pinch the rounds, control and contain Serrano. I think Serrano will definitely have her moments. I think she will clip Katie at times and probably sting her. But at that particular weight, over that particular distance, I think Katie Taylor will have enough to pinch the rounds and outpoint Amanda Serrano. I know some of you have said when I did a poll for this fight. Some of you have said, well, I think that, Amanda's going to stop at this time. And you've got it in your mind, as have I, that 5th round in the first fight. But Katie Taylor's not an idiot. She's a highly intelligent woman in the ring, certainly. And I think she will know that Serrano almost caught her nap in there. And I would imagine that she'll want to win conclusively by treating every round, 2 minutes of them, as like a little individual contest and win them one at a time rather than I'm going to get you out of there. The 10-2 simply doesn't lend itself to any fighter, and unless that woman in question is a real banger, is someone who will look to hurt you. Now Amanda is just that, but at 140, at that age, with Katie, who's you could argue that Katie's been battle hardened by those 2 Cameron fights. Yeah, I think Katie's just got slight edge. Would it surprise me if Serrano won? Not at all. Because I think Serrano's a very, very good fighter. But I think Katie will probably have enough left to defeat Serrano. I could be wrong, but I'm going for Katie Taylor to win a sort of 96-94 type of fight. I don't know whether it might be another majority decision, quite possibly, maybe a split. But I think she'll edge it. And this takes place in Arlington, in the US, at AT&T Stadium. It is on the undercard of the Jake Paul Tyson thing. Jake Paul, I don't know whether he manages Serrano or promotes her, but he's certainly on very good terms with her and has supported her career a great deal. So, big up Jake for that. So let's assume that the judges are going to do the right thing, play it fair. If they do that, I think Katie wins. But it could be controversial. It could be close and it could be controversial. Okay, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you disagree with me, please let me know why. And you may be right, I might be wrong, but comments below, please. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe. That's fantastic. You're helping the channel out. And also, if you like the video, please hit the like button because they count them and you'd be spreading that YouTube boxing fistic love thing. It costs you nothing. Thanks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a good one. Take care. Bye for now.